Well, Denmark has once again reignited a heated debate over Islam and immigration by reviving plans for a nationwide ban on the Islamic call to prayer or Azan. The proposal, announced by Immigration Minister Morten Botskov, comes amidst growing concerns over what the government describes as increasing Islamization in the country. Botskov said that the call to prayer has no place in Denmark and should not be heard over Danish rooftops, adding that people should never feel they have ended up in a suburb of Islamabad while walking through Denmark. The proposal follows Denmark's recent ban on the Islamic full-face veil in public spaces and adds to a series of measures affecting public expressions of Islam. Similar attempts to ban the Azan have failed to reach Parliament in the past, but the issue has returned to the political spotlight. The renewed debate reflects Denmark's increasingly tough stance on immigration and integration, with the latest proposal expected to trigger fresh political and public debate across Europe. Let's talk about this with our guest. Joining us on the show is Mr. Gautam Mukherjee, senior journalist. Ambassador Mahesh Sachdev, former diplomat, also joins us on the program. Major Muhammad Ali Shah, defense expert, joins us on the program as well. And last but by no means the least, Shams Shavish Rain, advocate of the Supreme Court, also with us on this all-important conversation. Gautam, I'll begin with you. Well, it's definitely a tough stance. Denmark does not have a very large population. I believe it's 6 to 7 million is the population of Denmark, and out of that population, 5% is the Muslim population. But politicians in Denmark have flagged the Islamization of their cities as well as their cultural aspect in the past as well. What do you make of this new diktat of not allowing the Azan, to be heard in the atmosphere in all of Denmark?
Well, I think when immigration was allowed into Denmark and other countries in Europe, the thinking behind it was that the new immigrants would integrate and adopt the ways of their host country and be good citizens in the sense of adding value to the growth of the country and so on. Instead of that, you've had a very assertive and separate identity being created, which is both alarming and offensive to the native populations. This is happening all over Europe and also in America. But now some countries are pushing back before it's too late. And this is a manifestation of that pushback. It is not a question of whether Islam is entitled to all this. The question is, in Danish minds and a number of other European minds, that, why don't you go back to your own country or go back to an Islamic country and practice your religion in the way you want instead of doing this in our faces. So that's what's going.
Let me also rope in Muhammad Ali Shah into this conversation. Ali, you as an Indian and also as a Muslim, how do you look at this attack on, what the Danish people call the Islamization of Denmark, a country which has been lenient in the past when it comes to allowing immigrants, but they say we've had enough?
Right, Preet. There were efforts to institute a blanket Azan ban, where previously it was floated in 2020 and 2025 last year as well. But those proposals ultimately failed to advance to the parliamentary stage. Now, in Denmark, it has not yet legally banned the Islamic call to prayer, that's the Azan, nationwide. But the government is currently reviewing the proposals to do so. This effort is spearheaded by the Immigration and Integration Minister, as you rightly said, Morten Botskov. Now, the very fact is, my personal belief is, we all know what time it is for praying, right from Fajr in the morning, early morning, before 5 a.m., around roughly about 4:30ish, the Fajr starts. And we don't know the time. And Isha at night, we all know the timings. So if you are calling from the loudspeaker and if it's hindering, if it's disturbing others, we have to respect others' privacy as well. We all know the timings. If I know the timing, I'll go to the mosque and I'll pray there. I don't have to hear the Azan. Yes, Azan can be done without the loudspeaker. It certainly can be done without the loudspeaker. There's no problem. And in fact, in olden days, and that time, there were no loudspeakers that time. When Azan used to be given out, there was no loudspeaker that time. So it's not about ban of Azan. Azan, no one can ban it. It's part of a ritual. But the loudspeaker, yes, that can be currently that there's no problem. There's no harm in that. In fact, also the current review of the Danish government, they announced that it will legally examine whether a nationwide ban on loudspeaker amplified it. Now, when you call it is not a ban on Azan per se. There were local restrictions like, when there was a federal law which is being reviewed. So they are local restrictions as well. Now they are hardliners who will oppose it. For example, like, in Copenhagen, what happened? There were strict, loud local noise ordinances that were effectively previously, in the mosques. That they were not really allowing it. That means that the city's grand mosque that does not use an external call to prayer. So the external call to prayer would be the loudspeaker. If it's disturbing others, it's not about Azan only. It's about I think it's about controlling voice, sound pollution. It can be not Azan only. It can be anything. On the loudspeaker, if it's disturbing you, if it's disturbing anybody else, there's no problem at all. And people all know what's to be done at what time, when.
Ambassador Sachdev, how do you look at this? Is this sending a very blunt and a blatant message to the Islamic community as well? Denmark obviously is a part of the European Union. They do trade with the Middle East. Is this some sort of a precedent which is anti-cooperation when it comes to trade and diplomacy?
I think there is a pattern to it, although some drivers to Danish antipathy, which has been growing against Islam, can be cited. Firstly, you would recall that in 1973, when the oil coup took place, OPEC raised the prices, quadrupled them. Denmark, Netherlands, and United States were banned from receiving OPEC oil. That itself was a big shock to these three countries. And this was followed by a large-scale immigration when Britain joined EU, because it was easier to get into Denmark, enjoy the Scandinavian social welfare system, and settle down. Denmark had no foreign colonies, worth the name, and therefore arrival of Muslims in Denmark didn't receive the kind of resistance initially. In fact, not having such colonies, particularly in Muslim world, made this a bit of a romanticized experience for multi-ethnicity in Denmark. The liberal government and the liberal Scandinavian setup also promoted multi-ethnicity and tolerance, etc. This led to large-scale migration, and the number became something like 250,000 now out of 6 million population of Denmark. And I think what has happened in Europe has something to do with the rise of the right-wing parties all over the continent, and they have used Islamophobia as a rallying cry to polarize the population and gain vote bank. France and Germany are two great influencers of Denmark, although Denmark has its own peculiarities. These two countries have suddenly evolved as anti-immigration sort of bulwarks, and Denmark has followed. The change of government from liberals to the current set of right-wingers has also promoted this kind of tendencies of putting restrictions on Islamic practices, etc. Last but not the least, European economies have not been doing well. This year, it is expected, the continent is expected to grow around 1.1% only. So when it comes to economic cake being divided, the minorities take advantage of the social security system, etc., and they are then cited as parasites and as overstayers and so on and so forth. So that provokes the right-wingers further, and the current government is not against that kind of polarization. This is what is causing it. Then again, the terrorism occasionally in Denmark and in other Nordic countries has also been cited as examples. You'd recall that one of the perpetrators of Muslim terrorism in India was caught in US, was planning some kind of activity in Denmark. This was about 5 years ago. So all that put together, you have a perfect cocktail of right-wing, xenophobic government, which wants, in the name of preserving Danish values, wishes to focus on issues that are Islamic. I should also add here that Denmark has its own siege mentality. It is surrounded by large countries, and Denmark has acted unilaterally very often. For example, it didn't join Euro, even while being a part of European Union, and it has had its own long-standing.
Yeah, you're right, sir. Let me also rope in Shamshavish into this conversation. Shamshavish, although no country has enforced a complete nationwide ban on the Azan, but there are several countries, which limit the decibel level of the Azan, and one of them is Denmark, which has proposed this. Of course, this proposal is under a legal review. There is Netherlands, there's Germany, and there's Switzerland also, which maintain a strict decibel level when it comes to the volume of the Azan. Israel is also one of those countries which has said that loudspeakers during early morning and late night hours will not be allowed. And guess the last country who's enforced this decibel level? It's Saudi Arabia. None other than Saudi Arabia has also said that the Azan cannot have a maximum volume. It needs to be under certain limits. So what's the problem here?
Well, there is no problem here as such. In fact, I think that noise pollution is something that everyone has a problem with it now. So as the last speaker spoke, Mr. Shah said that irrespective of any religion, loudspeaker is something that if it is the voice pollution and it is troubling anyone, it should always be banned, irrespective of any religion. So it's not only one country as per the decibel that you were mentioning. Yes, if someone is actually allowing a loudspeaker, a certain decibel should be set over there. But early morning and late evening, I mean around after 10 or 11 o'clock, it should not be allowed at all, because everyone have someone who is ill, elders, youngers, everyone are there at home. So noise pollution, there's so much of car and horns and everything that is happening in your life. We all are such a citizen now that we are deprived of natural light, we are deprived of the nightlife, we are deprived of a silent atmosphere, we are deprived of a clean air, clean sky, a blue sky. So many things that are happening, so which we are trying to control, but we are not able to. But if there is something that is majorly harming, which is in the hands of a person, for instance, a loudspeaker, that thing should be controlled, and if that is there in the government's hand, it should be banned. I am totally in favor of it, and it's not only in one country that it should be there. In fact, I strongly believe that here in India also it should be there. Religion is not a problem, but religion is your personal affair. Your personal affair should not become a problem for the other person, irrespective of their religion. So religion nowadays has become a way for a person to disturb the other person, be it in the name of azan or a puja or any kind of a yatra or anything else, irrespective of the religion. So this is something that every government should be taking a very strong step in it. And yes, such kind of loudspeakers should be banned, because if imagine when we are staying up at a very distant place, we have a problem with it. So the one who is staying right next to that mosque or that temple or that gurudwara or any such place where such kind of activity is happening, imagine what kind of harm it would cause to them and their minds and their ears. So yes, I am happy that such kind of such kind of law has been passed there, and I believe and I hope that the Indian government also bans.
No, a law has not been passed. It's a proposal. There is no law banning the azan. There is a law containing the decibel limit to these prayers, and these decibel limits in fact apply to everything else as well. It's not only the azan as well, but parts of the world and parts of Europe, of course, are witnessing this for the very first time. India is, of course, a secular country which has always, seen this happen. But nevertheless, we've run out of time. I appreciate everybody who joined in. Thank you so much for your perspective. Some breaking news.